We're trying something different today.
Yes, trying something different. Welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub. Welcome to IAE 2022. It's IAE 2952. This is the inaugural episode of that. We're going to be going from this episode to one at the beginning, one at the end for the Captain's Table. But for those of you who've never seen a Captain's Table before, this is a podcast, live talk show thing that we do where I bring people from all over the Star Citizen universe to talk about Star Citizen. We usually have one major topic that we talk about. Sometimes it's just a general kind of catch up on news. Sometimes it's a drill down on a specific thing. But since it's IAE, we're going to talk about the IAE. Joining me today are all veterans of the table, though, as we were talking about before we went and recorded, everyone here is, this is the first time we've all been on the same table together, so it's pretty cool. Let's start with Nick. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hey, it's Nick. I'm mostly just like a community member in the background. I interact with a lot of content creators, so you can see me in a lot of backgrounds of a lot of streams and in chats and everywhere. You can follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm really active. I do stream here and there on occasion at twitch.tv/HeyItsNick and everything. And I have one little plug to do. JRDF reached out to me, and they would just like everyone to know that on November 22nd, Tuesday, the Anvil Carrick 1/500 scale is going to be available again.
Yes, I saw that too. But JRDF didn't reach out to me.
Darge.
He did post on it on the Discord about it, but
Dargenator reached out to me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm like,
so yes.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll do it.
So yes, that is important to know, is that the JRDF is will have the Carrick back on sale. It's the scale. I'm gonna pull it up real quickly for that one, but all right.
If I didn't have so many pending projects,
the Freelancer, the 1 to 200 Freelancer by JRDF. I haven't finished painting it yet, but I will paint it at some point. Yeah, there we go. All right, and yeah, where can they find you, Nick?
Twitter.tv, Twitter.tv, Twitter.com/HeyItsNick, and Twitch.tv/HeyItsNick, and yeah, you can also find me on YouTube under HeyItsNick, and all that. So yeah,
HeyItsNick all around. Nice. Then we have Zarrk. Zarrk, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm just a normal community member. I'm pretty much hanging around on Spectrum and Paul's Discord. I'm playing the game, helping new people if I have the time for it, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. He also, and before anyone asks, because this comes up a lot, it's a crossbow that he has hanging up behind in the background.
No, it's a component bow.
It's a component bow. I thought it was a crossbow. Yeah, yeah. It's been asked multiple times, and I always forget because someone says, "Is that a crossbow?" And yeah, it's a component bow. So
it's a component bow.
Sorry, Paul. They'll come in and they'll ask a question.
They'll still ask it.
They'll miss like the first 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and they'll just be like a question to last. Just before we end, they'll be like they'll sneak a question in.
That reminds me, I should probably undo the queue so people can actually ask questions. All right.
There you go, Paul.
Thank you for reminding me.
No
and last but not least, we have the Sultan of Salt himself in the Stanton system. The Stanton Sultan of Salt. Say that 10 times fast.
The Stanton Sultan of Salt. The Sultan of Stanton.
Yes, the Sultan of Stanton.
The Sultan.
The Sultan of Stanton.
The Sultan. Yes, there you go.
Mr. HCVertigo.
Was that a portmanteau? A portmanteau, however you pronounce that.
Yes. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen? Where can they find you?
I'm HCVertigo. I'm a Star Citizen content creator. I've been doing Star Citizen streaming for quite a while, trying to do more stuff on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube, HCVertigo on YouTube, HCVertigo on Twitch, HCVertigo on Twitter. Got a Discord. Probably gonna have to find something else besides Twitter because thanks, Elon.
Yes, thank you.
I love the dumpster fire. I'm not on Twitter. I can just.
I know, right? It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm not really big on Twitter, so it doesn't matter. So it's
Yeah.
just like,
I bought blue just so I can like be like, I just want to see what happens. I'm just gonna get blue, see what happens, and ride this wave because this is crazy, and I'm just here for it.
That actually leads us into the first discussion point that I want to say, but I'll say that like this is why everyone should be checking in other alternative social medias. But it is sad because a lot of people, and I've seen CIG members talk about this too on Twitter, which is that Twitter is a resource often for a lot of people, for artists, for game developers, because they can show off stuff they've done and then they can use it as a resource and they can make connections because that's very important in the game industry.
What's his name? One of the ex-CIG employees, he did a Super Mario first-person shooter level, and that for some reason got a huge amount of traction. I can't remember the guy's name.
Jerry?
I'm terrible with names. Huh?
Was it Jerry? Jerry Johnson?
No,
it
wasn't. It was he worked for a little while for CIG, and then he started doing some. Yeah, he went. He did his own stuff for a little while, and he made Sean Noonan. That's his name. Thank you, Imperial Nexus. He did that, got a huge amount of traction, and that was just from social media, from like contacts from like GG Man Lives, Polygon, Kotaku. It eventually just snowballed, and he got a whole bunch of eyeballs on his stuff.
Yeah, and he's a good dude. Fantastic person all around. And I've seen a lot of people bemoaning that, which is like if Twitter is starting to die, then a lot of that connection is going to be gone. Other than that, it's a hell site that no one should go to, and that's the only reason why I'm on there is for the connections.
I'm just there because of business, because that's where eyeballs are, and it's easy.
It's just that. So, but speaking of Twitter, a new Twitter showed up earlier in November. One Jax McCleary 2889 or 82, I think 2882. I'll look it up specifically so we know exactly what it is.
2887?
2887, which is when his birthday is.
Jax McCleary 2887. That's it. Yep.
That's the thing. It's actually a CIG account that CIG is using with Jax McCleary. Because guess what? Jax isn't dead. There was a
spoilers.
There's a rumor for it about it because in the promo for the IAE, it said in memorandum Jax McCleary, and everyone lost their mind, including myself. Like, you're killing Jax.
I knew they hadn't killed him off.
Yeah, I knew right away
popular
seeing it. It was. I knew right away seeing it that it was just going to be like a false flag. It's just like, this is just a massive misdirection. I am not buying it for a second. I knew that some way he's going to be like, he's going to be like either coming back as a pirate king or it's playing out like it is now, where he's just like, I gotta get back here. What are they doing to my show?
Jack's bogus adventure. You know, that's what this
pretty
is.
Much. best thing was just before I watched the IAE teaser with the in memoriam. I watched the newest Grand Tour with Clarkson and co. And I switched role and I said, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so watch the cutter video. It's fantastic. But there's an entire they're doing an entire kind of mixed media thing with Twitter. So that's it. Let's talk about Jax.
Have you seen the second video already?
Yes, the cannibals. Yes, I saw the cannibals.
Yes. Yeah, we'd like to have you for dinner, Jax.
I wasn't
reminded me of that scene from what was it, Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone? Your new friends, they're cannibals. That's what it reminded me of. If anyone see the Stallone Judge Dredd, it's great. You should watch both of them, the new one and the old one with Stallone. They're both great on their own way.
What I'm very interested in is because we had yesterday the part with, okay, I want to borrow your Corsair. Now you can't. Okay, I borrowed the cutter. Now he got caught and was on a derelict 890 jump. So I'm very, very interested how they integrate each day's manufacturer, especially multi-day manufacturers. Into those videos.
They already have a
because
picture.
They are tight.
Yeah, they already have a picture. Like Jax updated his picture on Twitter to be him with goggles, standing in front of a cyclone. So we know that what they're doing for
next episode.
Well, that's not next episode. It's like, because next episodes are Aegis. So.
It's Aegis.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So.
'Cause he was on the 890 for Origin.
Yeah.
This is now I'm seeing the theme. Okay.
So let's have this
Tomorrow maybe a Gladius?
Maybe. Let's start with you, Vertigo, on this one. What are your thoughts on, because you're the last person to introduce yourself, what's your thoughts on their whole take with the Jax McCleary videos now for this year? Like him, dislike him?
I think they're entertaining. I think they're perfectly good. Even if I were to have a negative interpretation of it, I think these videos are to the point where they're entertaining, right? And I'm not going to piss on anyone's Wheaties. They're fine. I think they're good. And even if I had something negative to say about them, I'm not going to say anything negative about them because honestly, like they're perfectly fine. I think they're great.
Zarrk, your thoughts on the new Jax? Because you obviously are a fan of like the actual.
I mean, he's a massive prick. So I'm usually more on Captain Slowpoke side or Hammond. But yeah, I like those three guys. I only have to say they could be a minute longer or so. So maybe 2 minutes instead of 50 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things though, where it's just like in order to do machinima, you have to have an employee you pay sit down and do all the recordings and whatnot. So
yeah,
the more minutes you run, the more you have to. It's designed to be professional studio, right? So it's not just having someone doing the mocap and the voice acting. You have to have people go look at it, do color correction. You have to touch up the animations if there's anything wrong with the animations. Maybe you have to make props. So you're looking at a couple $1,000s per minute.
I know it's not feasible, but that would be my wish.
If you want like the reunion was amazing, by the way, even though it was kind of stupid. Like I could there's a bunch of dumb shit I could say about the reunion, and I have before, but I'm not gonna right now because honestly it's fine. People enjoyed it, and that's the takeaway, right? But if you want something like the reunion, that you're looking at burning a lot of money right there for what?
So I always thought about the reunion kind of like an action flick that runs in a truck store or something. It's like not really a real story, or maybe it's based on a real story, but it's pushed up with some action. It's an action flick.
Yeah.
Not a documentary.
Yeah.
That's why those stupid things kind of pan out.
Yeah, well, the reunion was basically just a long commercial for the Mercury Star Runner. That's how I looked at it. A lot of it was just really overblown action schlock. It's fine. If you look at it like in lore as an action movie, it's fine.
Nick, your thoughts on the Jax stuff?
I'm loving the Jax stuff. It's its own separate Twitter page that just kind of came out of the blue, and I find it hilarious that they weren't able to get it verified because I know they tried. They tried to get it verified and they couldn't.
I mean, they're going to spend $1,000 making it. Why don't they just spend the $8 on Twitter?
Yeah. The hilarious thing, the Twitter shut down the blue thing just as they were about to do it. So I'm just having a whole entire laugh that was happening. But this whole Twitter fiasco is them happening at the same time they're trying to get this account verified. I'm just seeing the comments of like, lol, this isn't verified. like all the troll comments on it is just hilarious. The interaction is just so amazing.
And he even responded with, I'm not paying 8,000 UEC to get verified.
You're right. I'm not paying 8,000 UEC to get verified. And then I was like, well, I looked at it and I'm like, well, he's using Moby Glass. He obviously can't get verified. You need an iPhone for it.
I will say I am a big fan of the Jax stuff. The way that they're going here, and it's funny you brought up the reunion, because the reunion I think is good for what it was supposed to be. Yeah. But there are some it was definitely ad hoc. There were things that could have improved. The stormtrooper aim, them running in a straight line. Yeah. I think that was a lot more of a time crunch, and they just didn't have, like, from what I gathered, it was they wanted to do something cool for it because they had this big storyline. So they wanted to do something cool for it in more of a cinematic way with the tools that they had on hand as kind of a test to see where they are. It was pretty good for what they have. But the current stuff that we're seeing, even like that 50-second clip, the facial animations are a lot better. The movement is a lot better and smoother. Like, and you can tell, like, this is done. We know this was done in mocap because the monthly reports have been talking about them doing this for mocap. doing mocap for this. They have their own mocap studio now, and they've gotten better. They've got better tools. So not only is this just a fun story in the verse, which I got as a lore guy who likes a story, it's like this is fun and great. I love it.
Yeah,
but
it's a whole great story of like we're now going to see the progression of how is Jax going to get back to Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and we're just along for the ride of like what's even going to be like doing like tomorrow. Like it's a whole mystery, and I'm all here for it. It's like that's what I love about it. It's like it's a mystery, and like that's what's keeping me engaged. Which is like what's Jax saying right now? What's Jax saying right now?
Yeah, I mean, I know Anna was on the last show, and she talked about how she did a bunch of mocap for stuff that might be coming out soon. My hope is that Anna actually saves that not Anna but Dooley saves Jax.
Yep. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be amazing if Dooley saves Jackson and is just he's kind of like whimpering, like all like shredded, torn up, and everything. Just like
wait a second, no. Even better. We have our new galactic president. Now AI is back on the table, so it's Miss Babbage who's gonna
Miss Babbage who saves them.
Miss Babbage, it's the same person.
No, Jack saves Dooley. That Jack saving Dooley would be more funnier. But beyond just the presentation, the technical aspects, if you're looking at it, is fantastic. Considering I know what they're doing is they're using their cinematic tools. This is the same quality that Squadron 42 cinematics will look like, by the way. So if you're looking at this and going, this is pretty cool, that's Squadron 42. That's all that tech that's in Squadron 42 as well. And the people who are behind it are, they have entire teams who, at least one of them used to make machinima for Star Citizen with the engine. So it's pretty cool to see all these ones. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
I'm excited for the next episode. I want to see what comes next.
I look forward to Jax every year, and every year it gets better. Last year was the best in the sense that it was like, oh, this is a solid show, and then they hit your streams with the Jimmy stuff, and it's like, I'm here to look at digital spaceships, not to have feelings, CIG. And now it's,
I love Jimmy stuff. I love Jimmy.
Jimmy's great.
I don't like Jimmy.
You don't like Jimmy?
Yeah, let me piss on someone Wheaties. I just don't like that character that much.
He's the string.
I know he's the stick, but it needs to be less of him.
There needs to be like.
He needs to be like.
He needs to be more
not seen, not heard. Shoot Jimmy.
I get the idea.
He needs to be just seen in the ship, driving the ship, and then a little interaction in and out. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last episode they did, the last Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, Jimmy was too much. There was too much of him in there. They're doing that whole pantomime thing, and I was just like, whatever, stop this. Get back to telling the jokes.
So, with that being said, let's now talk about the ISC, because the ISC had two big things. We talked about the cutter, and it talked about the 600i rework. Nick, since you're the last person to talk, what were your thoughts on ISC and the cutter and the 600 rework and everything else like that?
I loved that we can actually now finally talk about the cutter. And it's I am in love with that little tiny guppy. That's kind of like the best way I could describe it. It's like looks like a little tiny goldfish. And it
looks like a pufferfish.
Cheeks. Exactly. It's got like
pufferfish.
It's got like a little pufferfish. It's just got big cheeks, and it's just a tiny, cute little thing. And
it looks like a fish. The cutlet. I've heard it called the cutlet. I've heard it called the guppy. I like to call it the guppy. It's a
chibi cutlass. It's a chibi
cutlass.
Chibi cutlass. Yeah, I saw someone on Twitter posting actually like the anime eyes and like chibi mouth over it, and it just fits so well on that ship. I'm like, yep, that's a ship. And I love the rework of the 600i. That's something like they didn't really add too much more. There was a little more like screenshots and slides that we didn't really see before. But outside of that, it's just like, okay, cool, just let me know when it's in game. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for it. But just just talking about it more and showing some extra slides, I wasn't that impressed by them just dedicating that much time to it again.
Okay.
I mean, it was just it's stuff. They don't hold back on Inside Star Citizen anymore. They just whatever they have, they roll with. And sometimes it's very banal, very insipid, bare bones, very just like, why are you showing me this? There's almost They showed off that the rework for the Banu Merchantman was just a bunch of boxes stacked in the middle of space. Like, here's what we got on the Banu Merchant run. That was like over a year ago, though.
Mhm.
But yeah, they do not hold anything back anymore for surprises. Just if it's on Inside Star Citizen, boom, there you go.
Zarrk, your thoughts on the ISC?
Yeah, so I like the cutter. It's not a ship for me. I prefer the Pisces over the cutter. It's smaller, I can take it with me, and I pretty much have the same space for cargo. But it's a great ship. It's a great starter ship. I love how it does not cannibalize on any of the other starter ships, even though it's probably the best right now, except if you're going into combat, because you have complete and great living quarters. You have solid cargo capacity. You can take some of the smaller vehicles with you. It's a great ship. It's a Drake ship.
Yeah, it's a Drake ship.
So
Very
yeah.
much.
How about the
If you're into Drake, I love that we really have not. The thing is, they need to keep this starter package on the whole time and not just for IAE.
Mm-hmm.
So people can actually go, okay, I don't want to get an Aurora, I don't want to get a Mustang, I get the cutter. That's really the thing that needs to happen going forward. As for the 600i, I'm kind of torn. Personally, yes, there should have been more. There should have been some more concept art, some more white box, whatever. I like that we got an overview of what's changing, but they should have brought in something more.
Okay.
Maybe some more about the vulture. Maybe something, I don't know, about any other ship that's going around the weekend. Maybe something is something missing from Aegis? I don't know. Is something missing from?
Yeah, we could have had an update for. Yeah, we could have had an update for, like, there's the Vulcan, there's the Javelin, and those other ones as well. So
Yeah.
There's also been no update on the Banu Merchantman in a very long time, and like that's an easy grab. But I think they're probably going to be saving that for Alien.
What are you talking about? They talked about it on the last Star Citizen Live. What do you want to see pictures or something? Do you actually want to see stuff with your eyes?
Yeah,
I want to see things with my eyes. Words aren't progress.
Okay.
Visuals
So-
are.
Star Citizen Live is a whole nother beast.
okay. So Vertigo, your thoughts on everything?
The cutter.
I see.
Just a crappier version of the Nomad or the Avenger Titan. It's fine for like an LTI starter pack if you want to upgrade into something else, but honestly, the cutter,
It's half the price of the Nomad. So what do you expect?
It's the price of the Nomad. The Nomad's like $80, isn't it?
No, the cutter's like 45.
Yeah,
Right now,
it's
but
pretty much half the price of the Nomad.
It'll be 60. It'll be 60 after the sale.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll bump it up a little bit. But honestly, like it's big for what it is. It has one size, one shield generator. Has a couple little pew-pews on it, a couple little missiles. Like, yeah, I just can't recommend it other than the fact that it's LTI with a starter pack. That is really rare, by the way. LTI starter packs are super rare. Every time they come up, I usually tell people at least get one if you haven't gotten one by now. Corsair.
But the thing is, what starter ship can you recommend? I mean,
Titan.
Nomad and Titan, they are tier 2 starter ships. They are
no
not,
Titan.
They
Titan is the starter ship. I don't care what anyone else says. Titan, the Avenger Titan, is the starter ship of Star Citizen. Like, it's basically the best parts of the event. It's the best part of the Aurora and the best part of the Mustang into one ship.
Yeah, but it's tier 2. It's
I don't
not
care.
in the
I don't
tier
care.
one.
Call it whatever you want.
tier
It is the
two.
starter ship for Star Citizen.
I will agree with Zarrk on this one in the sense that it is more expensive, and I would never recommend anyone pay more than $45 for this game if they can help it. Just because $45 is a lot to ask for a game that's as buggy and as broken and as in progress as Star Citizen is. So, especially when we don't have free
Aurora
flights.
or Mustang, it comes down to.
Yeah,
I can see both. I can see both points because the Avenger is really good, but the price point that the Avenger puts it into for like it would put it into like a full priced game right now. So it's just like if someone is willing to pay a full price game for what Star Citizen is right now, that's their own personal choice. And I would recommend a Titan on, and if they want to put
and that's why I recommend
much
the
money
Titan,
into it.
because your full price video game right there. Anything more
And
expensive than that is kind of like you have to
I'll
look
be
at
honest.
it as a product.
And I'll be honest, if you go for an Avenger Titan, just fuck it and go for the Cutlass Black.
Yeah.
That's like double the cost of the Titan, though.
That's like you're asking for twice the
it's
money.
$25 upgrade. It's like $25 upgrade from the Avenger Titan to the Cutlass.
Yeah, because if you're talking about if you buy the because it's more expensive when you get the game package, but but if you get the Avenger Titan the standalone, and then you upgrade if you get the Avenger Titan game package and you upgrade the game package with that, it's not that much money because it's only like $100 for and the game package for the Avenger Titan's like $60 to $65, so it's not.
But if we go that road, then we have like double the price you usually have to spend for a starter ship.
And also, if you're getting someone into the game for the first time, you don't want them to start being like, oh, thinking about CCUs and all this and all that. It's just like just get in the game and try it before you want to even look at CCUs.
Free fly is the best way to experience Star Citizen. Right now, there's a free fly.
There is.
You download the game, play for free. Like a week, I think it's going to go for
2 weeks. I think 2 weeks.
So
it goes into the 30th, I think.
So my brother has Star Citizen quite a while, and he was always iffy about jumping in because he got it like 3.0, 3.2, around those patches. So when it wasn't that great, so I got him back into the game now.
Wasn't back,
and
it wasn't that great back then.
Right now when IAE is starting, and I kind of have to tell him, okay, if you want to grade up, those are your 3 options, but you don't have to do it. Don't do it, because you really have to put them down and say, you know what? Wait, go for test all those ships, and maybe if you want to, then go. And don't buy fighters. Don't get hung up on dogfight. This is not the end game. This will not work on the long run.
Not without support. I will finish up with my thoughts on ISC, which is effectively, I thought it was fine. The Cutter, I disagree. I think the Cutter is a good ship. It's basically a straight upgrade, a straight cargo upgrade from the Avenger, or from the
Aurora,
and the Mustang. It has the same amount of cargo units as the Mustang Alpha, but it has a bed, unlike the Mustang Alpha. And it doesn't have many guns, but it can also carry a vehicle, which is a pretty big deal if you're looking for something that has a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, it'll fit the Grey Cat Steve with like some fiddling.
Yeah, it'll fit the Mule. It'll fit a PTV, which means it'll fit a Ranger. Yeah, there's a lot of like, it fit a lot of stuff in there. So it's a solid entry, and to give a lot of options. And I like it as an optional for the starter pack, because eventually,
but if someone comes up to me and says the Cutter is the best starter ship ever, I'm gonna say no, it's not.
Okay, it's the best tier 1 starter ship.
It's the best starter ship, not an advanced starter ship. The advanced starter ships are like the other ones.
I think it gives a really good option to ask someone, what are you looking to achieve in Star Citizen? What do you want to do? Do you want to do FPS stuff? Do you want to do ship combat? Do you want to do ground stuff with ground vehicles? Then you can kind of point them in the direction of like, maybe you should go for an Avenger or the Mule if they just want to do FPS like stuff and maybe some ground vehicle stuff. And then you'd be like, point them in that direction. But I think it really gives it a variation and an option to like, what do the player choices want to be when they enter? Versus, one ship being the best for everything.
And I mean, that's even the thing with the tier 1 starters as of now, depending on what you want. If you're going into dogfight or racing, you're probably better off with any of the Mustangs. If you want to go exploring, Mustang B, no question asked. If you're more, I say, all-rounder or even poor fright, then probably the Aurora line.
Mm.
If you want some style, then you're with the 100 series. And if you want some rugged all-rounder, then you're going for the Cutter.
There's a lot of discussion in chat about what it is. By the way, the Avenger Titan package is $70. So even though the
Yeah.
Titan is $55, the actual package is $70.
We're talking about someone who doesn't have a copy of Star Citizen.
Yeah, we're talking about somebody who doesn't have a copy of Star Citizen because, generally speaking, we already said no one wants to say, "Hey, let me sit down and explain to you what a CCU is."
No, you don't. You don't.
No.
I've done this
started.
yesterday, and no, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting someone into Star Citizen right now, and they're trying it out on Free Fly. And yeah, I'm not bringing up CCUs or melting or anything. I am just no. That's not something I'm bringing up to them. Like that's something they can learn on their own.
I try to I can tell people what CCU chains are and whatnot, but it adds an hour to the whole discussion about what starter package is the best.
And the biggest problem is, I don't want to buy any new ship. I already have a Carrack and a Banu Merchantman. I don't need another big ship. I need something small.
Yeah, I can see that.
Today there was the sweet CCU upgrade for the 600i, and I'm oogling it. Like, okay, I could get it. It's $25 saved, and maybe another one, and then. Seriously, it's addicting, the CCU game.
It can be. But I also say with the 600, speaking of the 600, I know why they did it because there was not going to be an ISC for Origin because they said they're going to be doing an ISC every day. I think is what they said. So because there was not going to be an ISC on the weekend, they wanted to do that because there was an update. But that also brings to the front there wasn't going to be an ISC for Sunday either, is there? So why would they update an ISC for Sunday? Like why didn't we get anything for Aegis? So, but it was still long. I mean, it was a 20-minute long ISC. It was long.
I remember I was like I crashed out of Star Citizen and everybody was like I switched over to Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm doing another playthrough and it's a fun game now with all the updates. And I was playing Cyberpunk and everyone's like, "Hey Vertigo, let's go watch Inside Star Citizen." I was getting close to the end of my stream. I flipped over and I looked at the how long it was and I'm like, "No, we'll watch this tomorrow." There's gonna be a lot to unpack in 20 minutes.
I'll be honest. 20 minutes Inside Star Citizen is still short. I'm still sad about those juicy 25 minutes deep dive videos from the past.
I remember the 45 minutes of like around the verse. Like they were so
long around the verse.
Yeah.
But
honestly, those did more harm than good. I kind of agree with Jared Huckabee on those. They kind of disrupted everything a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It was just.
Yeah. I will add one discussion because someone in chat did bring this up. Because I was like, wait, what? The Cutter starter pack is $45 now, but it's actually going to be $60.
It's discounted 25% from $60 to $45 right now.
Yes.
So it's technically an advanced starter package.
Maybe
at that point, just get the 100i because the 100i looks better.
Yeah, I could recommend it for the $45 price, but the $60 price is making it really difficult to want to recommend at that price point.
But
maybe if you have an Mustang Alpha right now and you have those $5 and you want something more rugged, then go for the Cutter. But for $60, I mean, seriously, get the 135C, the cargo version, and more style. It's better.
But it doesn't. It can't hold it can't hold vehicles. And while vehicles aren't important right now, it's a nice. It's one of those nice things. That's the reason why a lot of people like the Pisces because you can just toss it in.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can hold a vehicle, but what vehicle you can hold a mule? What do you do with a mule on your own?
You
transporting a
box.
Transport box.
You're moving it for someone else. That's basically the option.
It's your work vehicle. You're just going to work and you're going to be loading someone else's vehicle with it.
You've repossessed it.
Yeah,
that's what Drake does. They just Drake. All Drake ships are just basically just aggressive repossession, repo man.
But there's a lot to it, and also the fuel size, the range for it.
But those numbers have to be placeholders. That's 6,000 quantum fuel.
Like
ships that have size 1 quantum drives have
Where
never.
Is it holding it? It's so tiny. How is it holding that much?
It's still going to be holding more. It's designed to hold more than anything else.
The 315p. I have to look up how much the 315p holds. But the 315p is like 600 or something. 600, 700 quantum
I would
fuel.
say it's around the 315p. Probably.
I mean,
maybe a little less.
Let's be honest. Okay, Drake Cutter is not a starter ship. The Drake Cutter is a pirate ship which they use to transport valuable cargo from one Kraken to another or to their fencer.
So it's like a
And-
fleet tender, like the Argo MPUV
yeah,
is what you're saying?
And
I can see
being
that.
about it and being very low key about it. So that it has a lot of quantum fuel, okay, I can see it. That it's small, probably has very low signature, hence the weak shield. Weak shield, low EM signature. So
Well, that's a Drake thing, but they just build cheap ships, so of course it's gonna have fewer
it's also
components.
just cheap. It's also just
yeah,
slapped together.
But you always have to consider it from the pirate's perspective. And from the pirate's perspective, that's the ideal ship to get some small valuable cargo from A to B without detection, without questions asked.
Because everyone's gonna look at it and be like, it's just a cutter going to work because it's just a starter.
No one's gonna assume cutters are up to nefarious purposes because they're traditionally used by pirates to smuggle stuff. No one's ever gonna assume that.
No one's ever gonna consider that.
Same like no one's ever gonna stop
it.
a Mercury Star Runner for like a contraband check.
They answered it. They answered why the Cutlass is so popular for pirates because the Cutlass is so cheap, and hence all the other Drake ships, they are so cheap, so they are very popular.
One, yeah.
Everyone has one, and if everyone has one, why the heck should they stop you because you have a Cutlass Black? Because if they stop everyone with a Cutlass Black, I mean,
it'd be like stopping everyone with a Honda Civic. Is what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's like,
It'd be like,
stopping
everyone has
one.
one.
I mean,
or a Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah.
In South Africa, right?
I mean, I got more police interceptions in the verse with my Carrack than with any drag ship I've ever flown.
Yeah, that's tied to your reputation though. That's not tied to the ship yet. I'm pretty sure maybe police will start profiling you maybe.
I will
But
also.
in which case, they're going to profile you for flying a Drake ship. Like that's basically what's going to happen.
It's in some places, yeah. But the point being with it, even though it's going to be $60, that's still the price of the 100i, and that's still a starter. 100i is still a starter.
I looked up the fuel capacity of the 315p, 830.
Yeah, so I'd say expect it to be like 600, 700. It's still going to
There's probably a zero too much. They probably cut the last.
Yeah,
zero.
like normally for a size 1, this is what I was going to say before I was interrupted, was the normal for all the size 1 quantum drive ships is 583.
Yeah.
And this 315p, which is an exploration ship, has 830, and the cutter for some reason has 6,000.
Yeah.
Quantum fuel, which is insanity.
It's probably going to be 600 or more, like probably slightly less than that, but yeah.
It also has a ridiculous amount of like hydrogen fuel too, but
yeah. Well, that's also important. It's effectively the air can refuel itself with the 100, so it refuels its own way, but doesn't have so much quantum, and it's all balances. It's all about them trying to balance the startup thing. And you know what? I will say the honest to God thing about it is I'm glad that Drake has a starter ship. And that now we have multiple starter ships that we can have these discussions on, because it means that CIG is pushing the starter experience, the new player experience more, which is a good sign. I think that's to take that away.
And I'm all for having like basically CIG remaking ships that already exist with a different style guide, just so people can choose their favorite style.
Yeah.
For whatever ship they want, whatever role they want. Like the difference between a Buccaneer, an Arrow, and a Gladius.
Guess what? Eventually, eventually the 100i. Eventually, the 100i, the Titan, maybe not Titan, but the 100i, the Aurora, the Mustang, and the Cutter will be available as starter packages for $60 when the game releases. Those are the starter packages options, and they'll all be for $60.
They might even in the future, when the game releases, just turn into a thing where when you just buy the game, and then
you can just choose
you join the game, and with the AI tutorial, however they choose to do it, they'll probably just be like, pick a ship. Which ship do you want? It's yours, but you only get to pick one, and then that's when the player just gets to look at them and be like, well, which one do I want? And then they could have like an NPC just being like, oh, that ship does this and that bad good, that ship does that and that good, that ship does that and that good, like, just pick one.
Yeah, maybe during the tutorial, when they bring you closer to certain missions, to dogfight, etc., they have one starter for each game part
package,
which these starter excels in. For example, some Mustang for racing or something, the Cutter for just some rugged transportation or whatever.
As Chad said, they're your starter Pokemon. These ships are your starter Pokemon. You will get a choice of these 4, and maybe one more because people say, oh, the Titan's is the starter ship, which it is, but we still need an Aegis starter ship, an actual Aegis starter ship, not just not the Titan.
Actually really is similar to Pokemon when you think about you want to collect them all, and there's like almost 150 of them. And
yeah.
I mean, it's too bad that the Drake Cutter is the grass type Pokemon.
Grass.
Well, and to make another joke,
but first
and
gen grass
Charizard.
type was the best. First gen Bisasam was the best starter you could pick.
There's 4 versions.
I'm sorry, that's a funny way of saying Charizard.
And the best
Charizard was the
hold on,
worst
I'm trying to make a
choice.
joke. And just like modern Pokemon, Star Citizen has just as many bugs as the latest Pokemon game.
There we go. Oh yeah, because the latest Pokemon game is trash.
It is buggier than Star Citizen, and that's an achievement.
I must say I've played it for 15 hours and I have not encountered a single bug. Not a single bug yet.
There are so many reports of strong, long-stringy men.
Yeah, I've been
best version and no bugs.
I've been looking at all the bugs coming out for that Pokemon game, and I'm just like, I am so glad I don't have a Switch anymore, and I'm so glad I never got tempted to buy that, because that is unacceptable to me. Like how that passed quality assurance.
That's just modern gaming.
It was just so bad.
It's released these days.
In all honesty, I'm surprised. I've played it like since yesterday for probably 10-12 hours now. Not a single bug.
No,
not a single one yet.
All right, let's move on to the next discussion. We'll start with you, Vertigo, on this one. Drake Day. Did you enjoy Drake Day? Was there any ships that you stood out for you, or are you looking forward to, or anything like that?
I mean, I've the problem is when you ask me that question, this is like I've been doing Star Citizen content creation for far too long.
For so long, yeah, I know.
10 years. I can't maintain a hyper erection for longer than 10 years, Paul. Like, so when the Corsair hits when the Corsair hits, everybody's like, Vertigo, what do you think about the Corsair? I'm just like, I'm whelmed by it. It's got a lot of firepower. They're probably going to nerf it like they did the Ares. It's basically just a constellation with more guns strapped to it. It flies like shit in atmosphere.
Yeah.
So Drake Day, I was just whelmed.
You're whelmed.
I've seen it all before. The Corsair, it's a new ship. It looks cool. It's problematic in firepower. They'll probably nerf it after the IAE is over, after they sell a bunch of them. That's all I got for you, Paul. Sorry, man.
Zarrk, this is Drake Day.
Yeah, I kind of am with Vertigo there. I mean, I'm playing the game for 10 years. 10 years. Yeah, 10 years now. So I've seen the first IAE. I've seen the second IAE. I've seen every IAE till now. And it looks great in red. The music is great. Bit more rocky than usual, but it's an IAE. I'm not a drag fan, so no ship I'm very excited about, but the interesting part was that my brother finds the Corsair very interesting, so we spent pretty much all drag day bounty hunting and dogfighting with the Corsair. And I'm not sure if the firepower really gets nerfed in any way, because it's a fucking ton, especially when you consider the turret on top, anti-turrets on the side and such, but it's a Drake ship. It's still made out of paper mache.
Yeah.
He said it, and it's breaking apart. So
it could the joke was, so someone asked me, what is does the Corsair punch up or down? And I responded with yes. It just punches. It punches everyone. It walks into the room and punches everyone in the room and knocks them out. But then one person breathes on their neck and they fucking just collapse. That is the true Corsair. Yeah, it is the definition of a glass cannon.
The Drake was the one going into the prison asking, "Who's the biggest person in this prison? Because I'm going to beat them up."
Yeah. But then that person, they miss, and then that person just like coughs on them and they just fall over dead. Like that's what happens.
So I've been flying a variety of ships, 600i, Carrack, Starfarer Constellation, and usually if you fly a bit of a larger ship and something explodes in front of you, you don't really care, because Prospector exploding in front of you, nothing happens. Maybe a scratch in the paint shop. Same thing with the Corsair. Lost one of the 2 wings on the left side. Gone. And with it, 1 size 4 weapon. So
Only one.
It is fragile. Yeah, only one. Maybe because it only hit one and not both. But
Oh, you were missing two.
so, but yeah, I don't think it really has to be nerfed because, for one, it's Drake's signature, having firepower for days, and it's sneeze at it and you're done.
Yep.
Mhm.
Also, its handling is very terrible. I mean, like
Yeah,
I've been bounty
horrible.
hunting a
It's
lot
not
with
great,
it.
yeah.
I've been using nothing but the Corsair for the past 2 days, and I've done full ballistic loadout with it, and I've been doing like going against hammerheads and everything. And I tried light fighter stuff and everything, and you can go in and get the light fighter easily, but once you like go past that wave and you gotta go loop around, the other fighters are already turned around and on you. So they're now on your tail and they're just on you. And it's gonna be super hard to get that Corsair turned around and pointing back at a light fighter. It's like you just gotta like take your target out and run if it's a small one. Because
The Corsairs really, you go, you see your target, go full speed, fire on your target, and you hope that those 3 turrets you have pick off enough enemies so you can rush through, like a charging bull, turn around, and hopefully get a second run. And I had to compare this ship to my Carrack, and considering the Carrack is thrice or 4 times the size, it's faster and more maneuverable. At least it feels that way, and that's insane.
Well,
And
the Corsair is not
more
designed to
tanky.
go after light fighters. It's designed to bully ships like the Hammerhead and Carrack and Drake. It's designed to basically bully ships that have cargo in them. Caterpillars.
that's a good
I'll be honest. Corsair versus Carrack, I wouldn't count on the Corsair.
The Corsair.
Carrack can.
Right now,
I mean, the Carrack's faster than the Corsair, so the Carrack is eventually just going to break away.
Yeah.
First that. Second is you have the Carrack can tank so much firepower, and you get with no problem 2 of your turrets on the Corsair, maybe even 3 if you're good, and you shred it apart. The Corsair can't sustain getting shotted by 3 size 4 turrets. It can't sustain it. It gets shredded apart.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like I know people have tested it. You can one pilot in a Corsair can kill a Carrack in 1.5 cycles. So like one full capacitor and then a half a capacitor. Just straight.
Even faster if you're just doing ballistics, which is what I'm doing. I'm just running ballistics and I've been able to kill a hammerhead and have plenty of bullets left and take on another hammerhead.
Yeah, that's those
and then keep going.
AD5Bs.
No, I'm using the cannons. I'm using with the strikers, I believe.
There's those size 5 cannons, to my knowledge, right?
Yeah,
there are. Yep.
Okay.
All right, Nick, your thoughts on Drake? I don't think we fully went there. What were your thoughts on Drake Day?
I loved it. I mostly spent it around. I was with you in your stream while I was doing the tour of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and that was an amazing experience. Thank you for putting that on. More people should come check it out. And then after that, I was playing with Aurelia and bounty hunting and showing off that, and it was just. And since then, I've just been doing my own like bounty hunting with the Corsair, and it's just like messing around with the mule and everything. And Drake Days has just been like the greatest introduction to Aerospace Expo I think has happened, especially with the theme and especially with the introduction of 2 ships. It's kind of like opening up with a bang. I feel it, and now it's just kind of being like, okay, is it going to be able to keep up momentum with the Jack stuff during the week for like the other announcements that are going to come down the road, or is it going to like kind of be like weighing down from here? So I'm interested to see how it goes. I think it's building up to something, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely building up something. I will say Drake Day was fun for me. I mean, I do a lot of the lore. I don't really play during IAE. I mostly do like the lore. I just don't have time to. I'm making too much content. And I'm kind of like in that old grizzled backer status where I've seen so many IAEs at this point that it's just like, it's just another IAE. But I'm here to, entertain people and stuff like that. But I had fun doing what I could.
Short interruption in the chat. Origin's home system is Seoul. Their home planet is Terra, and their home city is Frankfurt.
Cologne.
Cologne.
Yes, Cologne. Yeah.
Which one? One of them does have like the GmbH, which is the German LLC.
That's Origin.
Yeah.
They did test the 300i out of Frankfurt though, the Frankfurt Cosmodrome.
Yeah.
So that's but they're on the Rhine specifically. There was their old headquarters. So,
all cities are on the Rhine.
All the cities are on the Rhine. So yeah, it makes sense. But what was I going to say? Great. My only thoughts on the Corsair is the Corsairs are going to get nerfed. It's going to get buffed. It's going to get nerfed again. It's going to get buffed again. All ships are going to have that happen to them. Yep. It's just the nature of how Star Citizen works.
Master mode is coming.
Yeah, lots of things are going to change. If you get the Corsair, get the Corsair because it is a exploration ship that can also explore the inside of other people's cargo bays. That's what you want to get it for. That's just, and I have one because that is my bag. Like, not necessarily I want to go kill people or do piracy, but I just like Drake because I'm a fanboy of Drake, and the whole it's an evil Connie, and I'm like,
it's an evil
got
Connie.
you. It's an evil Connie. I love it. Sign me up. I didn't even have to see the interior. Just an evil Connie. I'm cool with it. You know.
So yeah, I mean the thing is, with all those balancings, we will get the physicalized damage and the armor systems, and this will be such a huge game changer because in theory, once you have a large enough shield and strong enough armor, 10 Corsairs can fire at you and you don't take a single damage because the weapons are too small. And Dungeonator, what you mentioned is forbidden to talk about.
All right. So, with that all being said, let's talk a little bit about the Origin, because we're actually coming up on the hour here. I knew this is going to happen. I knew this is going to be a long one because of everything. But let's talk about Origin Day. Though that's today as of this recording. Nick, what are your thoughts on Origin Day?
I looked at it. It was pretty.
Yep. That's what Origin does. That's
nothing new there. The A90 was right in the center. It was big.
It's huge.
It was pretty nice.
Big.
Yeah. Go rent it if you can. Go check it out. But other than that, it was very basic, plain, and I can't take away much more from that. Other than just go see it. There's some nice Origin ships. Nothing new and exciting.
You managed to do more than I. I didn't even look
Bother
at
going.
the expo right now. Not sure. I will maybe tomorrow morning.
The white contrasts very nicely with the black and white, or black and red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see this, but I like Origin for what it's supposed to be, but maybe with the 600i rework, I take another look for an Origin ship, but right now there's no ship I really like. The 8i jump looks great, but I'm not in hosting parties for 20 novice rich, so
Vertigo?
Same opinion about Drake Day, about Origin Day. I've been to the IAE before, and I've seen all the Origin ships. I own an 890 jump, so I can live in one if I want to.
Yeah.
Wow, for once I
got
had more to
nothing
say
for you,
than
Paul.
everyone. Wow.
There you go. That's fine. Hey, I mean, I will match the same thing. Origin is Origin. There's nothing new for it, which is fine, and it's good. The one thing I will say is if you have a chance to go down there today or tomorrow, if you're watching this live, do so just to see the comparison, because the 890 jump is about the size of.
It's 200 meters long.
It fills up the hall. It's worth just going in there and just looking at it.
Is the Idris 350 or something like that?
It's smaller than the Idris.
It's smaller than the Idris, but it's like maybe 2/3 of an Idris or something like that.
Yeah.
So
It's the largest. It's the largest flyable ship we have right now, and we will probably have for the foreseeable future.
Yes. So like go to the hall to see it's sitting next to the 600i and the 100i. So just to see the comparison, even the 600i looks tiny next to the 890 jump.
Yep.
And the 100 eyes looks like a baby. It's like a speck. It's like an ant compared to the 890. Just to see the awesome comparison, just to see like the it's a great comparison. It's a great way of seeing the like what is the term?
The scale.
The scale. Thank you of ships in Star Citizen.
This is the one thing I really would love if CIG could do this, bringing out an Origin 890 jump variant that's not touring but exploration, just with the just like they did with the 600i. Because I believe this would be a ship I would love to fly.
Yeah, something that size. All right. Well, let's go. Let's finish up with some quick thoughts at the end of about because the ship's going forward. We've heard rumors of the Pisces. We've heard rumors of the Galaxy. We've heard rumors of the Argo MCV. All sorts of things. Are there any of the ships coming forward that are concept, or even just ships that are going to be on sale that they usually aren't on sale that you're looking forward to? Vertigo.
Like I said, 10 years.
10 years.
10
Following
years
this project for
new
10
ships.
years. Yeah.
And it's just really hard to get excited for like new ships. I'm looking for gameplay, like Squadron 42, looking for server meshing, get more people into Starship Pyro, that kind of stuff, more sandbox stuff, building bases, crafting, that kind of stuff. So when it's like people come up to me like, Vertigo, what about all these cool new ships that are coming out? Like we already have 144 ships, like 140 something ships and variants. And
145 flyable, and now it's 146 flyable.
And it's just like, well, we don't have enough ships. I mean, the CIG keeps putting this stuff out in order to make more money, and that's why the Corsair has a ton of firepower, because people want to buy advantage, people want to buy power, but you don't want to sell pay to win. So the Corsair's got to fly like shit because you don't want it to be killing Carracks, because the Carrack pilots start crying. Then they have to nerf the Ion again. So I said, like you have to keep selling stuff people want. That's why we don't get a lot of passenger transport stuff.
We must keep the Carrack Karens happy. That's how they keep spending money.
I own a Carrack, and I tell you what, I'm embarrassed by other Carrack pilots. Other Carrack out there.
I've coined the term Carrack Karen, not because I think that all Carrack pilots are Karens, but all Karens are Carrack pilots. Is the way of putting it.
Not all Karens.
It's like how I view griefers in a very controversial statement, but technically true, where not all PvPers are griefers, but all griefers are PvPers.
Yeah. So, like I said, I mean, there's the Rescue Pisces coming, which is great. Like the Pisces fits in a ton of ships. 890 jump can carry one. You could wiggle it into a lot of stuff. The Herc.
You can carry 4 in the 890 jump.
Yeah, so I mean, it just, and the nice thing about the Pisces with like the 890 jump, you can actually shove that thing into places inside the hangar and in the cargo bay, and just have it sitting there, and you could just wiggle it back out when you need it. So it just becomes like a life raft or something, or a backup ship.
Yeah,
the Pisces is probably the most valuable ship in terms of versatility you can get in the verse, because you can fit it everywhere. You can put it in your pocket if you want to.
You can also put it. Yeah, was that a bug? Is that literally bugs? I remember you could put like a ship, like a snub ship, into your inventory at one point. I remember which one it was, but it literally fits in a Corsair. The Pisces fits in a Corsair.
Cool.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet because I got the bug with the Pisces when I was trying to fit ships in it, but I was able to fit an Aurora in a Corsair very nicely and tightly.
Wow.
I got screenshots of it, but I was able to get the Aurora inside the Corsair. I had to leave the landing legs up and then fly it in and then deploy the landing legs. But then after that point, it was just stuck in there because you couldn't get high enough for the landing legs to detect that it was off the ground to lift back up to get back out. So I got it in, just it is not staying there, or should I say it stayed there permanently.
Zarrk, your thoughts on the future? Any ships you're looking forward to either purchasing or like the concept ships you're looking forward going forward?
I first must say I haven't heard of the Argo MRV. I haven't heard about that yet. MCV.
I'll just explain. It was a leak through some of the files that had a description of it, which was the Argo mobile construction vehicle, and there was a lot of references to crafting with it. not just like construction, but crafting. So it's hard to tell if that's the thing about anything from leaks is you never know what is actually there.
It's unconfirmed, so just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, something with construction and or crafting would be very interesting too. Simply because that's a new thing that could be explored some more. I mean, the last time we heard anything about construction or crafting was with the Pioneer. So some new updates, hopefully, with the ship. Other than that, the Pisces medic version, great ship. Maybe I pick one up, just because it's so easy to take it with you. It's so helpful to have a medic ship with you at all times. The Galaxy is something I'm very interested about. What I've seen, it looks great. Seems like a true Carrack competitor, not like the Odyssey, which kind of missed the mark. But if there's one thing I'm really... Okay. Small tinfoil hat section. Not sure how... I always forget his name. The guy that's responsible for our hover tech.
What? The guy who's responsible?
Yeah, the guy that's made the hover tech for the hover bikes.
I don't remember who that is. The developer.
The young blonde was sitting on Star Citizen Live.
Oh, he was at the panel on Friday.
Yeah.
Star Citizen Live.
Dave Coulson,
young guy, blonde hair.
Dave Coulson, you know.
There you go.
So he mentioned he would love to see a biological ship. And this could mean that now that a director, producer, whatever, is actually interested in some things, we might see them. And tinfoil time. The interesting thing about a biological ship is you can't upgrade it. So, because it doesn't have a quantum drive, it has an organ that does this. So, our procedural base tech for different things is proceeding nicely forward. So what about a biological ship that you can grow? And depending on what inputs you give, it procedurally generates the interior as it gets larger. This would be an awesome ship. You can't do anything at the end. Yeah, when it's done, you can't upgrade it anymore. You have to make concessions while you grow it, but it's unique.
Let's not tell Chris Roberts that. I don't want to add another 10 years onto the ship.
Yeah, let's not.
Onto the game.
Let's not do the whole No Man's Sky procedurally generated like freighter ships.
All right. Nick, what are you looking forward to? Any of the ships you're looking forward to, concept ships or otherwise?
I'm looking really forward to the medical Pisces. I think that's the one that like everyone is going to probably pick up when it comes out and is released. That one the Pisces alone is beautiful, but to have a medical purpose to tied into that, where it's like, hey, let me through. I'm a medical like hospital thing. It just sounds so entertaining and it looks good. Yeah. Other than that, there's not really too much I'm interested in. I feel like I have all the ships I want, and I feel like if any other ship I wanted to actually just grab to try it, I just buy it in game. So, yeah.
I'm of the same opinion. I'm kind of done with buying ships in general. I am looking forward to if the Argo MCV even exists, any of those sorts of things. I'm also looking forward to from a backer perspective, from a following the development perspective, just what happens tomorrow during Aegis Day. Because we know they'll probably be selling the Idris. They may be selling the Javelin, just to see what happens to the funding spike. To see if it's, because I've been on this belief that I don't think most people are purchasing large, massive ships anymore. I think most people are purchasing like starter packs and those sorts of ships.
Last year we had a huge influx of new players, so there's obviously going to be some new whales in there.
Some new, but I don't think I think a lot of the older whales are done because they've purchased what they need to, and there's going to be
how many years can you sell 1,000 Idrises?
Yeah.
Until everyone has one.
But I mean, like, I don't have any interest in buying an Idris, and I know lots of people don't have an interest in buying Idrises. But at the same time, I think like with the Drake Day, there was still Krakens for sale. It wasn't like sold out in 15 seconds or whatever. There were Krakens for sale for like a couple of hours, I think. Someone kept saying, is someone going to buy a Kraken? Krakens are still available. So like,
maybe I pick one up next year.
So
I feel like the rush for the Kraken is kind of surpassed. I feel like now I think the people who were going to spend that amount of money on a ship have already done so, and I don't think you're really going to be getting new players in right now who are going to be wanting and willing to spend that amount of players, because the players who are that emotionally invested into the game to spend that much amount of money have already done so. I don't think now, in 10 years into the project, you're going to be picking up new players who are going to be willing to spend that much money, and I think they're just going to be thinking of waiting to get it in game or join someone else.
Yeah.
So you also have to consider that with new players, you always have people that are kind of in the situation. Now you have 2 or 3 large ships and you want to combine them into one. Because you noticed, okay, you picked that ship up. Maybe you started with one large ship, one fighter. Another fighter made one Mercury grade up. And now you have 3 large ships. And you want to combine them into one. So then you might consider, okay, if I throw in another $300, I can get a Kraken or I can get an Idris. So this is where I see probably most of the sales happen in the future, is the credit side of things, not the Warbound.
Personally, what we were talking about. Oh yeah, I just finished up my discussion, so I think we ended the discussion here. My brain has been fried because I haven't gotten a lot of sleep recently. Thank you for Nick and Zarrk and Vertigo for joining us for this discussion. This is going to be the end of the discussion portion of this video, and we're going to be moving on to the question and answer. But if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, right above Nick's head, you will see a link. You click that link, you can go to the question and answer session, which is already available for you to go and watch. If you're watching this live, ask questions using the little the coin system in chat, and we'll be answering those live. So stick around for a few more minutes if you're watching this live. Otherwise, thank you all for watching, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.